This week on the Matt Williamson Show, we talk about wins at Utica Speedway on Wednesday, Airborne, Plattsburgh on Thursday, and of course the second place, which wasn't as good on Friday. So here's Matt. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm a little tired. I drove home from Airborne on Thursday night, got home 6 o'clock Friday morning.
Oh, wow.
Spent some time with the little one, spent some time washing car, tires, got this thing ordered up yesterday, and then got to spend some time with the little one again this morning. So a little bit tired, but yeah, we're looking forward to the next 2 days of racing. Get the Devil's Bowl tomorrow, hopefully get a good run there, and then spend a couple days just getting recouped.
Gotcha. Let's talk about Wednesday, Utica Rome. That was a 358 deal, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was supposed to be dirt car rules. There ended up being a 525 in the field, but
I saw that.
A couple of 525s, but other than that, I think it was mostly dirt car rules.
Any thoughts on that? Did you ever run one of those?
I think the last thing the 358 division needs is another option for a motor.
That's right, there's the W16 as it is.
Yeah, we got the W16, we got a spec motor. Right now you need the W16 for Oswego, but at Brewerton you need a spec motor. And,
yeah, because it's a stop-and-go track, and that doesn't work.
Made the biggest mistake when he allowed the 430s and all these big small blocks. So, now you need 360s, 400s, 430s, Wagner motors, and now dirt car seems to be going in that same direction with the 358 series, where you're going to need W16 for Oswego, you'll need a spec motor for Brewerton, and then sometimes maybe you'll need a 525. So I don't agree with it. I don't think they need another option. If they get rid of the W16 and just say simply 525s, but from what I've heard, they're not a $10,000 option, so I don't know why we're even talking about it.
And the W16, that's a momentum track thing. Like even Fulton, it would probably work if you didn't hug the bottom, wouldn't it?
I think it depends on. I know I won a race at Fulton with a W16 back in 2019, but I think it all depends on the track conditions. If you go there and the truck's got some grip to it, and you got to rotate the tires, you probably need every bit of spec motor you can get.
Okay.
But then that's the problem. Races now are won in the shop when you decide what car you're going to bring. And,
that's true.
The more options just cost people more money. The good 358 teams, it's not going to make it any better, because the good 358 teams are going to have a W16, a 525, and a spec motor. It just, I don't know. It's
where should the 525 work best? Because does it have more torque? Does it?
I think if they want to come up with a crate division, we have crate sportsmen. The spec head motors are obviously expensive. You can get a good spec motor. I don't know why people are complaining about it though. You can get a good spec motor for $24,000.
A 358.
Yeah, that's
really
half the price of a.
But don't you need all the lightweight stuff to go with it though? I thought.
I mean, like Utica Rome, for example, it was slippery enough that you could probably go buy an $8,000 spec motor and run just as good as a $35,000 spec motor.
Okay.
You're not fighting for the horsepower. But then when you go to Charlotte, you might want to. If we ever race 358s in Charlotte or Volusia,
that's W16, right?
Well, no, you'd be fighting for every bit of power you can get, or you might need a W16 because they tend to momentum better. But I don't know. It's
okay.
I think we've seen the story play out with the Church X Super Series with all the motors options, and how you have to have a weekend warrior or not a weekend warrior, or you need a 430. And now it seems like we're going down the same path with the 358.
Okay.
But we had a good conversation with Dean Reynolds, and he seemed to be receptive. Me and Lance Wilkes actually went over and talked to him, and just kind of voiced our opinion, and whether he'll listen or not might
on
be,
the 525.
Yeah, it might be another thing. I mean, I don't know why Can-Am seems to be pushing for it. I think that if they want to come out with an option, a $10,000 option would be better than a $20,000 option to get people into the sport. But we bought our first 358 for $10,000 off of Larry Lampman, and it ran great for years and years and years. And obviously now the spec motors that we have are more expensive, but the last new Gordon we bought was $24,000 from Carbon Pan. So $24,000 for a good part motor, for a good motor that you can get rebuilt. You can change rockers in your garage. You don't need a laptop to tune it.
Okay.
I think that's a better option than a $19,000 or $20,000 motor that you can't even take.
And we're still 590, 595 horsepower, somewhere in that range,
I think a good spec motor makes 585. Depending on the dyno. Some dynos will tell you that.
I heard 600 was like the ultimate ceiling there.
Oh, yeah, some dynos will show 630, some dynos will show 570. But
and it's the same motor.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the dyno.
Okay.
I'm lucky. I got some good spec motors, like I said. Terry Vince at ERD builds the motors in my 6 car that we won the races with this week.
Okay.
And, he's great to work with, and Joe Denny builds the motors on Fridays at Gordon, and them two guys really got their spec program figured out, and they build really good motors.
Okay, got a little sidetracked. How was the race at Utica?
It was good. It was a good race.
I like the sidetrack though.
Yeah, the 525 seemed to pull me on the restarts.
Was that Janzik?
Yeah, Janzik was pulling me on the restarts really good, so that thing takes off good. But once we got rolling, I feel like I could momentum a little better than he could. I think I was a little bit more into the track than he was. Of course, last night we get to the races, and the tech inspector, Mike Welch from Dirt's coming over and screaming at me because I had something that Janzik was bitching about this week, or I don't know. It's racing's a funny sport. Seems like when you run
2 days later after the win.
When you run into the back, nobody gives a shit about what you got on your car. But anytime you actually read the rule book and build a race car instead of buying everything, it seems like you're the bad guy.
Gotcha. How about Thursday at Airborne?
Airborne was great. The racetrack there, I was joking with Mike Bruno after, jokingly complaining to him. I just told him, I said, I come here and it's always rubber down, hard to pass, for the most part, features. And this week, man, that was a great racetrack. It was. I wanted it to be rubber down when I got to the lead. I didn't know where to be because there were so many lanes. And
what a problem to have.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job on the surface. It was really good, and the race was good. It was a lot of fun to be a part of.
I hear Ransomville, they chant your name and in cheers, but you got a second place last night, huh?
Yeah, second place.
Who won it?
Gary Lindbergh won. He
started nice. Good for him.
Got to the lead before I could get up there, and we kind of followed him through and got to second, and then I'd try the top, lose a little bit, gain a little bit back, and he was just consistent and ended up with the win.
Now, a lot of people in Central New York don't know Gary. I got to meet him years ago, but he is one of the better guys. If he traveled more, everybody would know who he was, wouldn't they?
Yeah, for sure. I married his sister-in-law, so.
Oh, no kidding!
Yeah, so when we get our off nights, we get to hang out and drink some
Tell him I said, hey, have one for me. All
right. Yeah, it was. They were screaming our names in Victory Lane when I won
heard
the last
that.
time. They were bitching about
Yay,
us.
Matt! Yay,
yeah,
Matt! That's what they were saying. Yeah,
so, I don't know what they were saying to him last night. I'm sure the guy that was screaming that he wanted to fight him 2 weeks before, but we didn't want to fight him last night.
Well, people like to get up on the fence. Look at last week here. So
whether they're making noise, good or bad, it's still noise.
Hey, they're saying your name.
That's right.
So that's the way Brett Hearn used to say. He goes, "They're not booing you. You're not doing well enough."
Yeah.
So
I appreciate every fan that comes out, whether they like me or not. I appreciate them spending their hard.
Yeah, and if they come to root against you, that's good for the track. It's good for the sport. Yeah, we look at Dale Earnhardt. Half the crowd was there rooting for him. The other half was cursing him.
If they told me tonight that there'd be 10,000 people that didn't like me in the grandstands, but it paid $5,000 to win instead of $2,000 to win, I'd take that any day of the week.
That's a good place to leave it right there. Guys, make sure to subscribe, turn on the notifications. Matt, as always, I appreciate your time. Good job, man. Thank you.
Thank you.